$1 bill, yo.
And we are going to give you a sampling of the 5.6 patch notes, which are on the horizon.
All right, introduce yourself.
I'm Thomas Blair, I'm the design director.
And I am J. Todd Coleman, creative director.
And we are going to read the patch notes from the future.
Yes, we're going to go, not just read them, we're going to go over them.
Obviously, we're here to explain
them, right?
And you know what's funny is, so this may be Todd's first glimpse at what it's a glimpse.
It's a cross between a glance and a glimpse. It's a glimpse.
What patch notes look like when they go straight from a implementer, developer, designer, engineer desk to Git, and then poor Valerie has to try and translocate or do something.
Figure out what the hell.
She's like, what the hell are these things? So we just did a whole giant skills implementation.
Yeah, skills revamp was giant.
And
that's coming again. Another one.
The patch note for that is literally new skill menu and interface has been added.
Right.
Time bank has been removed and a new pip training system has been added for better ease of use. There you go.
That sounds really scary because actually we've doubled down on time bank. It's not that it's been removed. It's that that's the way everything works now. So we'll do a write-up on this one to give you guys an update on skills. But what we found was logging in to invest in things it's okay. I mean, that was kind of cool. Logging in to spend things, way cooler.
Right.
So, so basically, what we did is what we found is a lot of people, the way they were using the system is they would pick which skill tree they wanted to train in.
Correct.
And then they would just let it go to the time bank. Like they would just amass stuff in the time bank, and then they would log in and spend. And once we thought about it, we're like, yeah, actually, that just makes a lot more sense. Because then I'm not having to determine beforehand what I want. I just let it build up and let it build up and let it build up, and then I log in. I can decide right then what I want to spend it on. So what we did was we just simplified the system to, it goes straight to the time bank for all of the tracks. You have basic training tracks. You pick one, you pick which time bank you want it to go into, it goes into. When you log in, you see basically skill points there that you can spend on anything in the tree. So it made it a lot more simple, actually.
Yeah, and it was how they were playing anyways.
It's how they were playing anyway. It's how you guys were playing anyways. So, it's a lot more simple. So, no, blazing. Most people just bank time and then apply fat later. Anyway, good change. Thank you. It's
almost like we're watching. It's almost like we're watching what everyone's doing.
Almost, not quite. The nice thing about it was it also dramatically simplified the interface, right? That made it really easy because now I'm not having to train in this particular skill. I just say, okay, I know I want to train in tanks in general, and I'll figure out how to spend it later. And the spending moment is more fun now because I'm not just getting in to see how much I gained in the last 7 hours. I'm getting in, I find a big pool that I'm like, ooh, I think I'll spend some over here and spend some over here. So I think it's going to feel a lot better.
And let's talk about spending for a second because we redid that whole. Remember, you had.
Oh yeah, somebody just said, make it faster to spend the time, please. We did. That was incredibly annoying. That's much better now. You just buy pip at a time. So
yes, you don't have to watch the animation. That little pop up that was just non-helpful at all. Yes, so you guys will enjoy it.
Yep.
Okay, so let's read some more of these.
All right.
Added VIP status to the skill header bar, okay. Added a pathfinding node to the exploration tree. We'll talk about pathfinding in a little bit later. Trees now unlock correctly based on the % trained in previous trees, and can now train pip symbol disappears. You can't train now. Those are just bug fixes.
There were little things in there actually that are also polished bits. Like now the little bar, if you've got one skill, or I'll do it this way.
Okay.
So you've got one skill that leads to another skill, and it needs 3 pips to unlock.
Right.
The little dash line will actually show 1, 2, 3, and it'll fill in those dashes as necessary to tell you. So it's just much clearer now.
What's funny is you've been asking for that for like over a year.
Right. This is the way it works around here. I ask for things and I don't get them.
Yes, he asked for lots of things, and we have to pick the highest ones.
I ask for lots and lots of things.
Yeah. So here's some other new items. The Wood Elf male has been added as a playable race.
Yep.
The High Elf male has been added as a playable race. Yep. And the female Fae has been added as a playable race.
Okay, so that last one is... So the other two are cool, but it didn't unlock new functionality, right?
Correct.
This one at the same time unlocked new functionality.
So we had to implement...
Talk about that.
Yeah, we had to implement double jump, and we had to implement glide. So as well as the Ganesha gets double jump, but I think that's covered later. And I think the comment everyone cruising by my desk as I'm playing with glide is, no one's going to play anything but a Fae anymore because glide is so cool. And glide is in fact really cool. So it acts like a double jump is very simple. You hit the space bar after you've hit the space bar and you go another full length higher. If you are a Fae and you hit the space bar a third time, you enter the glide mode. As you're gliding, you can use your right click Fae dash powers to dash forward, go back into a glide. If you run really high and just fall, if you hit spacebar once, you enter glide automatically. So you can turn it off as you're falling and return it back on. So you can kind of do like cool base jumping if you like base jumping, because
Sure, who doesn't?
who doesn't like base jumping?
Right.
Just jump off a
'Cause that's the
bridge and
thing.
just go fall and then engage it at the last minute so you don't crash and kill yourself. That's always a fun
Somebody
game
said
too.
explain double jump. That's when you jump, and at the apex of your jump, you hit space and you jump again.
Yes.
My jump has got to jump. So, and yes, Ganesha does have that, right?
And his is a little cute roll, so of course.
Of course it is, because why wouldn't it be?
Why wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
Yes.
So can we see it in action, Blair? You will, but we can't do that right now.
Correct.
Like we aren't set up for some reason. I don't know why.
That
Gibson
is
didn't bother
the
to set
third
that
stream
up.
of the month.
Seems obvious. Oh, okay.
This is the patch notes from the future. So we just explain what's coming. We answer your questions. We get some more feedback. And the third stream of the month is where I show something new and exciting, and then we do a Q&A.
Cool.
So, can we make a jump? Someone is fixing the random fall damage.
Yeah, somebody. Oh my God! That bug. Occasionally, you hit a bug that's just really, really tricky, and it seems to linger. That's why. It's not because
We don't want to make it.
Sometimes it is because we don't have anybody to work on it. But this time, it's not for that. It's
Right.
just it's a hard one. Like this has been. We've been digging around in the guts of the networking layer, trying to figure out, and the movement controller trying to figure out why occasionally it's just like. Bam! You take a bunch of falling damage.
You just fell
for no
15
reason.
feet for no
you
reason.
tripped over a rock or something, and you take like 15,000 points of damage. So anyway, we are working on it. We're trying to figure.
You
that
would
one
know
out.
we have surrendered on that one if we made it a feature. We're like, can you get some fly text to happen? Like you tripped over a rock and hurt your toe.
Yep.
Yes. Yes, the double jump and the engaging of glide is all spacebar activated. Basically, it knows what you want to do based on where you are in the combo. Can you glide while stealth? You currently can. I'm still debating on that one because you can jump while you're stealth.
Yeah.
Which means that you can do that. I have a hook to pull it out if we don't like it, if it's too powerful. Okay, the new Vassal system. So this was Todd's baby. This
I spent a
milestone.
lot of time working on this, with working through the issues on this one. So,
You just want to talk about it?
Yeah. So in this next version, for the first time, you guys are going to be able to start doing multiplayer city building and collaboration. So I'm going to give you my caveat at the beginning that I told the guys not to spend time on interface. Like, don't worry about making it pretty. In fact, just make it slash commands to add vassals to a parcel, to add nobles to your kingdom, to be able to see who's already assigned on the list. I wanted to get the core functionality in first so that we could try it. Before we try some stuff out, we decide we need to change it, and then there's a bunch of UI wasted work. So I'm going to give you the warning on the front end that it is not pretty to use. Like, it is very, very clunky on purpose, because I want to get the core functionality tested, and when that's set, then we'll put a nice user interface layer on top of it. So the basics of it now are that I can boot my EK, I can add nobles to the EK, and at which point they're given the ability to drop parcels, right?
Okay.
So they can be basically landowners. Any given monarch or noble who drops land is then the parcel owner, and they can invite vassals to basically be able to drop buildings on their land.
Yep.
There's a weight limit based on the type of parcel that you drop. So a city parcel, you can drop a lot more medium and large buildings than you can on a village, for example. Those we've had actually those weight limits in for a long time. They're up at the top when you're in building mode. It shows a little building and then a bigger one and a bigger one. And they were all set to 99. So nobody paid any attention to them before, because you could drop whatever you wanted. So
And now there's rules going in.
and now there are some rules going in, so those will be limits. Those will be a first cut. Expect them to drastically change over time. We will end up making some buildings way more and some way less. We'll move something that was a large down to a medium. In general, you can look at, like, here's a picture of a render of a small fort. Well, the parcel that it's on should have enough tokens to support building that thing on it, and a few more, right? So that's the basics of the system. We're having to adjust and put in some temporary things right now that will definitely change later, like, all right, well, how long does my EK stay up when I log out? Because that actually costs us money right now, right? Having that server running on AWS costs money. So we're just putting in, like, the more nobles you have, and the more stuff you have installed, the longer it'll stay up before it shuts down. If there's a person in it, though, or a person logs into it, that'll reset the timer. So we're trying to make it semi-persistent right now. We know that we'll need a whole nother pass on that coming later, so don't get too hung up on those rules. We just kind of stuck something in now that would allow the functionality to be there so that we could test it, knowing that we'll come back and make another pass later.
Can I use your crafting stations in your EK?
I don't know how that's set up right now, to be honest. So I haven't tested crafting stations. I've tested vendors, and now if I make you a noble, you can drop some land. You can then make Jack a vassal. He can drop a building if you give him the tokens to do. You grant him the tokens to do so. He can then drop vendors in that and stock the vendors, and other players then can log in if you set it public or you invite them, can log in and actually go and shop at his vendor. So that right there is a pretty significant jump forward, right? It means that players can actually start to put together strongholds that serve as markets for other players, and that whole loop can start to fire. It's just that it's going to be very bumpy. Like,
well, I mean, if you think of the two things players can do right now in EKs, it's I can craft and I can set up vendors.
Right. So I haven't checked that one yet to see. I need to go through and put that through the testing to see if make sure that works as well.
Yeah. Can nobles boot up the server? No, only the owner, as far as
right now they can't, but I'm probably going to have it to where they can. So there's a couple of these little odds and ends that I'm going to request between now and when it comes out on live. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if a few of them shift between test and live. Like, we'll just get it to test quickly, and then as we play it, we'll be like, oh, that rule really sucks. Everybody's EKs are shutting down all the time, or whatever, and then we'll make some adjustments before it goes live.
They're more excited about the ability to craft in others' EKs.
I think it's going to be pretty cool. I think it's a whole. Yeah. It's interesting because I thought the functionality was going to be harder for us to get in. It actually came online quicker than I thought. Oh, so we are made some. Blaze was asking a question about non-VIP training. So the way that the accrual into the time bank works now is basically we've just moved it to skill points. So every 10 seconds your primary track will get a point, and every 20 seconds your secondary track gets a point. We have adjusted the cap. So non-VIP now, that will accrue up to, I believe it was
72 hours.
72 hours, right? Yep. And for a VIP, it's still set to
30 days or plus.
30 days or something like that.
But the thing is you can you can buy partial boxes, which is I think where he's going is if a box takes 24 days for whatever reason, it takes 24 days, you could spend partial points into it now. So you can just dump XP into there. Oh,
can you? I thought it was only buying a full pip at a time.
I thought it was partial.
Well, I'll have to look at that.
Because otherwise, you're right. You wouldn't be able to train anything longer than 3 days.
Right. That would be a problem.
That would be a big problem.
For sure.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you for the compliment. More on the Twitch stuff. Is there a bank wipe coming in 5.6?
I'm pretty. I'd be shocked if there wasn't.
What's coming in 5.6 that?
So I would, generally speaking, what I told the guys is I don't want to do wipes unless we have to, but there are times when it's necessitated, and I think this is one of them, because we had to change the way the storage works to deal with the eject buildings and parcels problem that I talked about before.
Yeah.
It meant that we had to kick. The permission system now happens on central service. This is more tech details than you guys probably care about, but I think that is going to necessitate a wipe. I'm not sure though. I will go and follow up on that, and as I said, I try to not. Like, generally speaking, I'm trying to move us all to thinking of it more like a persistent live service that we're running all the time, and therefore we do not do as many wipes. But when stuff is still in open heart surgery, sometimes we don't have a choice. But we are trying to make sure that we make up for it, like with the training knob and with putting in vendors on the test server and stuff like that. And there's another one that I think is coming as well on the crafting and harvesting and collection. We'll get to that. I assume it's in here somewhere.
Yeah, we've got lots of stuff in here.
We're on like item number 2.
We're on 2
of the multi-page.
But these are the two meaty features.
Right.
That's true. Is the skills update and the Vassal stuff. We'll do additional features on these, but we just wanted to tell you guys that they're coming. Additional storage. Is there skills wipe likely with 5.6? I want to say definitely a skills wipe in 5.6. because we're
gonna have to.
We just redid the whole thing.
The whole system just changed. And
Right.
somebody said, "Are we going to get additional storage?" So that's actually a great question, and I can't recall if the local banks were or were not added to the crypt. Remember, there was supposed to be a banking solution in the crypt.
Yes.
And there's also containers that you are supposed to be able to put in your house or in your houses, and I'm not sure if those are in yet.
I'm certain those aren't. The crypt one may be in.
Okay, so we'll look into that. Sorry, so what? A lot of this is we have so many things cooking at any given time now, and we're always jumping back and forth between multiple versions. So while you guys are all kind of like, here's the test version, here's the live, we also have like, here's what's in development, and here's what's cooking that's not yet in development. So we're kind of trying to keep track of 4 versions at once.
Yeah.
And I can never quite remember when things are falling.
It's
so.
in one of the tracks, and we just have to remember which one.
Okay, so is there anything else in Vassals? I don't think there is right now.
Okay.
I'll just, this system, as always, it's a big system, so it's going to be a little bumpy. So I really would appreciate you guys getting in and helping. I've made some other changes as well, and there's a pretty significant update coming in 5.7 where we're going to try and simplify down a lot of the deeds as well. For example, right now you have a deed for a straight wall segment and a different deed for a diagonal wall segment. So we've collapsed those down into one deed. So I just have a straight wall, and it figures out whether it needs to be diagonal or straight depending on where you connect it. There's also kind of a multi-asset feature that we're going to add, where a single deed can have different skins, and you can cycle through those skins at the time of placement, and the skin available or the skins that are provided depends on the rank or the quality level of that deed. So if I go to somebody who's much better at crafting this, I'll get more skin options out of it. That's also coming later as well. So there's kind of I keep referring to it as like cleaning out the attic. Like we've kind of over time just built up, and there's all these deeds in there, and it's very confusing. And so we're just kind of doing a blanket cleaning of all the deeds and all the recipes and all the EK stuff, so that it just feels a lot better.
Sure. Where was the?
Please check other people crafting at tables. Okay.
We don't need a new vessel in each word functionality in 5.6. No, and
no,
you have my sympathy. I watch you guys on streams, and I'm like, oh, this is so painful to watch someone have to make a new character to jump between EKs. It is coming, but not in 5.6.
It is. That is a massive underlying architectural change that touches a whole bunch of stuff to enable a character to simply walk from one world to another, which is the eventual goal. Because it touches a whole bunch of stuff that you wouldn't think, like, all right, grouping. Well, if I walk from one world to the other, what happens to my group? Am I still a part of that group, or do I get kicked out of my group? That would really suck.
Yeah.
So there's a whole bunch of little dangly in bits that we're going to have to deal with. So we're phasing that functionality in over time. The first piece you can see, which is that now when I do a Spirit Bank transfer, it takes less than 2 seconds instead of 2 minutes.
Right.
So some of the pieces are there. That one in particular is not there yet. And yeah, I do get that it's obnoxious, so I just apologize. Please be patient. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, and for people who can't visualize the problem, it's basically if you think of a MMO that has a bunch of different servers, each of our different worlds or EKs was like a different server. So we're basically essentially writing the tech so you can just seamlessly jump between those worlds. It may not feel like a world to you, but on the back end, it is a world. Right, with its own DB and its own save and all that stuff. So it is a big undertaking, and Steven is we have top men on it. Top men on it. Yep. Okay.
Yes, we have gotten through 2 patch notes. Yes, that's right.
No, come on, we had the races too. We had 3.
All right, that's true. Okay, so on to
stats is the next one on here.
Stats. All right, you cover this one.
Okay, stats will now track their mods, parent mods, and base values separately. Parent mods will happen in one pass through all modified objects instead of the possible multiple times. Stats can now check the unclamped value and then apply clamp to a modified amount.
Nothing you said makes sense to me, even.
So
I don't expect most people. Well, actually, given the people on this channel, they may understand.
They will actually. Than me. So what this is
that's very possible.
Prior to this, we had a cap that we could put on a stat, and that was the hard cap, and nothing could happen to it. This was coming out of the armor mitigation versus armor penetration problem that we had. So now you can go over the cap with your mitigation values, and the penetration will reduce from that value.
Oh, this was requested actually.
Yep.
This is one of the things that you guys requested that we thought was a good idea.
This is the more technical thing of what's actually happening, which means that we can do this with other stats now. We haven't really started extending it, but Charlie gave us the functionality to do that.
Clamps.
Yep.
Somebody said clamps. Isn't it from Futurama?
Yes. No, that's yeah, it is. It's
Clamps.
Zoidberg.
Yeah. No, it's the robot, isn't it?
Bender?
No, there's a clampy robot.
There's a clamp robot.
Oh, I was thinking of the pinchers on Zoidberg.
And there's a stabby robot too, right?
Stats were getting removed when they were empty. There was a bug in the empty check, and everywhere that used stats assume the player always has all the stats. Instead of fixing everything, empty stats will no longer be removed if they're empty. This was another bug that was causing something to go haywire in 5.6, and I saw it, and I was like, what the hell is going on? Charlie fixed it for us. Added a pathfinding stat, which reduces the amount of time it takes to pathfind when starting a trailblazing
300
buff.
hard cap on attributes isn't hard, by the way. I don't know what you mean by that.
He means it's difficult it's not difficult to hit that.
Oh, that's kind of by design, right?
So,
if you wanted multiple paths to get to
most
these
yes,
caps.
to most of the caps. There should be multiple routes.
Yeah, Roberto. Hey, Red. Is that what he says? Or is that a different character? I don't know. I can't keep my Futurama characters together.
Well, it's only been going for like 12 years at this point. The cap doesn't really work. So that was something that Charlie fixed with...
Oh, he means you can add stats past 300. So that sounds like a bug.
And it was only with attributes.
Okay.
Charlie fixed it in 5.5.
Okay.
So that will get pulled back into 5.6.
All right.
Okay, crafting. Removed intermediate helmets. Yes, there is no intermediate helmet anymore. There's now intermediate gloves, boots, and the chest piece. Moved intermediate armor recipes to leather working stations because there was no metal in them. For some reason, we had them at blacksmithing for the longest time.
All right.
Forever.
Seems a little odd.
Yeah, we fixed that. Fixed a bug with ice and fire arrowheads, which did not allow experimentation. I also fixed the bug yesterday where fire arrows produced piercing arrows.
Okay.
You know what that was?
Yeah, no, actually, that's another one that I saw in the Dev Partners Forum. I made sure that it was in the system, which it was, so I'm glad to see it worked its way out.
Yeah, and it was looking for fire empty space. So someone had inserted an empty space after the word fire space.
Fair enough.
And the actual adjective on the item was fire.
Yep.
No empty space. So, yeah, those are always tricky to, because you look at it and you're like, the data looks good. And then you click into the cell and all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, there's an empty space on the end of that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Maybe the tool should truncate or cut spaces.
Maybe it should.
That'd be nice.
It would be. Crafted necklaces.
Oh, they're asking why. Why no intermediate helmet?
We have no appearance for it.
Oh, because we don't have the art.
We just didn't get, and it's like, it's intermediate, and it's also nice when you see people with helmets, you'll know they're wearing advanced helmets.
Okay.
Because it looks cool.
If I can get you the art, will you put them back in?
Potentially.
All right.
I
know somebody.
It was that or something really cool.
I know a guy.
You know a guy?
Yeah.
He can get us...
Yeah. His name is Steven. He handles our outsourcing efforts.
He can get us 22 hats.
Yeah. Ooh, that'd be great. Let's go hit Greco up and tell him we need 22 hats. He'll love that.
Yes.
That'll make his afternoon.
Lowering the amount of dust needed for armor weapon recipes. Yeah, this is part of a larger effort of us playing through and being like, this is too painful. We should make this a little easier.
They seem, I don't know what the heck is going on in the chat, but they're like, something about you just said, I think, confused everybody. A stat to make your buffs show up faster.
Oh, that's pathfinding. Yes. So Trailblazer. We've seen a lot of abuse with Trailblazer and people just cycling in and out of combat quickly because it used to activate immediately.
Okay.
Which meant that you had a 25% for some of the races speed buff right off the bat. So pathfinding is now, once you are eligible to get that, you now have a period of time, it's like 10 seconds to actually activate that buff.
Okay.
So this was yet another one that was pulled off the Dev Partners Forum, which is, hey, people are abusing Trailblazer. So it's like, yep, this is probably too good. So now you will go from a combat stance to normal running stance, and then several seconds after that, it will activate the Trailblazer.
Okay, so it's just this was a balancing mechanic because you thought that it was being overused, basically.
And that time period is called pathfinding when you're in between combat and going into Trailblazer.
Okay, so you can invest in bringing that timer down?
Correct. You can go train some skills to bring that timer down if you want to do that.
Okay. Does Pathfinding apply to Bard or Friar Speed?
It does not.
Okay.
Those are active powers. They already have cast times,
Okay.
and they already have it in combat and out of combat limitations.
Okay.
Added basic crafting recipe for meat tartare. It's a good quick way to turn animal meats into a low end food.
That's nice.
Yeah,
Do you add a little onion and garlic? A
You
little squeeze of lime? Those should be additives that make it better.
That would be nice if we had those again. We might get those at some point.
All right.
Right
Fair
now,
enough.
just take all that boar meat that you get from the newbie yard and just
Tartare it.
Tartare it up.
Tartare it, baby.
Again, we're just trying to create more avenues beyond apples for you to get stuff.
Yeah,
we'll get to
makes sense.
we'll get to better apples here in a second. Update the name of long daggers, ranger weapons to now be short swords.
Okay, so there's actually more to this one, right? As we had the category of long swords, all of which look like bastard swords.
Yep, those for
and
knights.
we had long daggers and short daggers, which really didn't there was not a consistency there. So what we did is we're actually splitting those into multiple categories, right? So we're going to split bastard swords and long swords into two categories, both of which can be used by knights and other tanks. And then now we've got long daggers are going to be shifting over to short swords, and then we'll have the daggers, and we'll in that category probably have some long daggers, and then those can be used by rangers and fae. So
Yeah,
we're
right.
trying to give more. We're trying to split out the categories to give more weapon options to more of the different classes.
But our current ones look like swords, so we're calling them short swords. Second to this is we're renaming the scimitar druid weapon to a sickle.
Yeah, because it doesn't actually. It's not a scimitar. That's a good reason.
Just for Jack's sake, it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No,
So-
no.
Change it back.
We're colluding. Okay.
How does this impact damage types? That's a great question. I don't believe it does right now.
The short swords will become slashing instead,
will
of,
they?
instead of
Okay.
piercing.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. It's just the animation. It doesn't look right with a really long sword, and we have the daggers, and those are for the assassins. Taco crafting. Someone said they're donating an extra $20 to add taco crafting.
I am into this idea.
Let's do it.
And ironically, I would spend that $20 to buy breakfast tacos for the team. Well, for the people on the team that I like. Sorry, Jack.
Oh.
Why did you start saying "oh" before I said "sorry,
I'm
Jack"?
not gonna get any breakfast tacos. I know immediately.
So when we eventually do add scimitar, it'll be more like a Kopesh. It's a melee weapon. And it was just too
or
confusing.
it could be a scimitar. That would be cool too.
That
we
would
could
be cool.
actually make it a scimitar. It would just technically, I'd probably make it a long sword or a bastard sword in terms of the category of weapon.
Yeah. Part of 5.7, you will see the actual changing of the appearances on this. That tech is still being worked on right now.
So somebody asked about the message ping spikes in combat. So we have a bunch of people working on this problem from different angles. So the challenges I was talking to Mike about that this morning is we're kind of in a chicken and the egg, right? Is he's like, well, we'll hit a point where it seems fine, and because not enough players are coming in. I'm like, well, not enough players are coming in because they're hitting a point where it doesn't seem fine.
Right.
And that's part of the challenge that we're having right now. Is if we had a large internal QA team, right, we could just say, hey, everybody test this build until it breaks. Since we don't have that, it means a lot of times you guys get in, and that's what causes it to get to a point where it breaks, which isn't great. It's not ideal. So we're trying to see if we can come up with some kind of coping mechanisms to deal with that. So I do apologize for that. I know it's aggravating. We're doing the best we can to try and address those issues. So, and I think this latest version that we put up on test was better. It was, I don't know if it was good enough, but it was better. So
I think they were going to do a stress test today if they could.
Yeah, see, it's a schedule stress test with more time in advance. That we can do.
Yes.
So I'll talk to Gordon about making sure that we announce that stuff and try and schedule it in advance. That's a great idea.
Yeah, and
great point.
And Gratishar, I did say that you can experiment on ice and fire arrowheads. I read that note. Somebody fixed that. Harvesting. Added holy armor to all harvest nodes. Yes. Some of you are using Holy Warrior to solo Motherlode nodes.
Well, those Motherlords are quite sinful.
Yes.
So that makes sense.
So you can no longer use Holy Warrior 2. In fact, somebody today sent in, they were stealthed watching a group of Motherlode nodes and just filming other people doing it. So yes, your compatriots are out there watching you in stealth mode, so be aware.
Yeah.
And we will
Somebody
find
said
out.
the latest patch causes FPS issues. So we actually made a significant performance
Yeah,
improvement in the last version. Well, again, this is back to that versioning thing. I don't know which version they're playing to know when Jason's characters and Doggett's characters
That was
do
part of
stuff.
5.5.
Was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
the character zoo.
So that's interesting. It shouldn't have caused a big hit. I'll have to go and follow up on that.
Yeah, everybody should have seen a substantial FPS increase as part of 5.5.
Yep.
Updated the interact type on the water well to now function more like a chest, which means water flask availability is now set to a respawn time, whereas it wasn't before. Set the sacrifice value on water flasks to be a lot lower and lowering the max size of water flasks. Yeah, most people...
Oh, so this last one is actually... go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, I'm just saying a lot of people are saying the FPS has been better. Maybe it's that person's drivers or something. I don't know. That is always a challenge. What were you going to say about the Firefly?
Oh, just the Firefly effect. So one thing that is a big disconnect, right, is we hear feedback from people saying, oh, I can't find anything other than the ubiquitous kind of common, the knotwood, the slag, and the cobblestone. I can't find actual quality harvestables to go and harvest. And it's weird because then we go look at the map, and the damn place is sick with high quality harvestables, right? So something's wrong, and I don't know if it's they're not spawning or they're not respawning, the respawn timers are broken, or is it just that they're being lost in the noise, right? I look across a forest of trees, of which 99% of them are knotwood, and I'm missing the fact that that one and that one are really good. So what we did is we basically added some effects on the ones that are really good, so they'll pop. So from a distance even, you can be like, oh, look over there, that's where I need to go. That signposting is great. I think it'll help significantly with harvesting. It'll also drive PvP, which is nice. It'll drive conflict. More importantly, it'll help us isolate and figure out what the problem is, where this disconnect is happening. Because it's not supposed to be, hey, I ran around for 30 minutes and I didn't find anything. That's not the goal. The goal is the stuff should be relatively easy to find. And of course, you also have some changes you've got coming in harvesting. Is there a section on that?
No, I haven't talked because I'm still prototyping. Okay. I'm still prototyping. Well, I'll announce it as it comes up. Okay. We'll see what it yields.
Yep.
Player movement. Fix for veering when moving on steep slopes. That sounds like a good one. Fix rubber banding when using power that sets pushed flag for a short time. Those are all of our, like our tornado powers that set that flag on you. Sync fly text with movement and combat.
They're asking if there's a new map in 5.6, and I actually think the new map is a 5.7 thing. I don't think it's in 5.6. There are some updates that have been made to the 5.6 map, if I recall correctly.
But 5.6 is still Wrath.
Yeah,
Wrath
and
1.
so if there are particular things, like you guys say, hey, we don't have this rank of tree or whatever, please be sure and make sure that I know about that, because then I can follow up on it. I've got so many things all the time that I it's hard for me to keep up. So
yes,
but a few of you are really good about reminding me, so that's good. So
added a few more movement control adjustments to fix jump direction anomalies. Yeah, we did spend a little bit of time on jump because we were in there messing with double jump and glide.
Yep.
General powers, added seasonal buffs. Okay, so you guys are going to start seeing, when you log into 5.6, you're going to see that is the Season of Plenty.
Okay, yeah, so this is...
And it's going to get stuck at Season of Plenty until we get the rest of the tech in 5.7.
But yeah, this is another one of those things that we're doing to adjust the harvesting cycle, right? The fact that it's too painful.
So yeah, in the Season of Plenty, it's like there's a 30% apple harvest buff on everybody.
Okay.
Everyone gets plethora,
Plentiful harvest?
Plentiful harvest +2 for everything.
Okay.
And then there's a 10% global dust buff on everything. And then as the seasons advance, what did you come up with? Season of Reckoning or Reaping?
There's Reaping, and then there's
Plenty,
and there's another one I can't...
We're not calling them Spring, Summer, and Fall.
or something,
but
and then there's the Long Winter, so...
Yes, but basically, as the seasons progress, the stats that I just mentioned actually start to decrease and eventually go negative, such that in the third and fourth season, you're actually fighting against the season. So the apple rate in the Season of Reaping, which is fall, is like -10%. So you actually better have skills at that point, or it's going to be harder to get food. Yeah. Basically, we're going to start simulating the
Season of Death, pretty much. The Long Winter, right?
Yeah. The fourth one, fourth season winter is what we've been calling it forever now, but it will be a different seasonal name. It'll be like -30 to apples, -2 to plentiful harvest, and the negative to the dust. Basically, you need the skills, and that also means it's time to go out and just smash heads.
Right. So I also, the reason that I like this too is it's something that we can do different for different campaign types. So, for example, the dregs, by definition, right, I'm coming in and I don't have imports. we can really crank up the harvesting mechanic on those worlds because we know people are coming in fresh, clean slate. Everybody's coming in equal. Well, hell, then let's go ahead and take the gloves off and let them really go crazy on harvesting and up both the quantity, and the quality would already be up, and up the quantity as well.
So basically, stockpile in the beginning, because we've been talking about this forever. Stockpile in the beginning, and then if you skip those seasons and you didn't stockpile, or your guild doesn't have a large food store,
or somebody destroys it,
you're going to get screwed, right? I mean, it's basically we're starting to put in all of these the campaign elements, and it's kind of exciting.
So, okay, here's a question. How do these interact? So if I have if I have Plentiful Harvest +5 from training and leadership, will the winter debuff lower it to a P3?
Correct.
And that's correct. It's additive, right? It does sum up. You're still better off than other people who didn't have that.
Correct.
But it is going to become, resources will become more scarce.
In that final season, Todd and I have always kind of pictured that it's just sieges nonstop, because you're trying to amass the final push to win.
Yeah, to win.
Right?
Absolutely.
So that final season is going to be rough. Yeah, and the Plentiful Harvest caps at 5 anyways right now, so...
So they're saying, will the seasonal buffs and debuff happen now or gradually throughout patches starting with 5.6?
So we'll have the full cycle, including day and night, by 5.7.
By 5.7. 5.6, it's just going to be
Seasonal.
We'll turn on the first season buff,
Right.
but there's nothing to tick it. Day-night is also being worked on now as part of that same update.
Right, that's all part of 5.7.
Right.
But you will get the Season of Plenty 5.6. So when you see that buff on you, that's what it does.
Yep.
Okay. Currently locked to spring. We should probably change the name on that because it will be Season of Plenty.
Yep.
All seasons, I just talked about that. Yep. Increase the retaliate combo duration to 8 seconds to match the duration of the longest crowd control. Okay.
What was the res thing? Somebody, the res timer. Did we do any adjustments on that thing yet? Because I know we need to. Right?
I've increased the cast time to 15 seconds, and I reduced the range from 30 to 15 on the area of effect.
Okay, and if that's not enough, if they're still using it in combat, we'll do it again.
And we're also brightening up the effects because I thought they were too subtle. I really wanted to scream like, eat it, Joes, eat it, Joes, eat it, Joes, when somebody is rezzing. So everyone's like, oh, crap. That person is trying to res.
We just skip 5.6 and go straight to 5.7. I'd go to 5.9 right now if we could. So unfortunately, no. You kind of have to go through these steps. But that's the way it always is, right?
Yeah.
It's always the version that's next sounds so much better than the version that's coming right now. So that's just going to be that way until actually even after you launch. That seems like it's always the case. Because MMOs they grow forever.
That's the business we're in.
So okay, we are running short on time. So
we only have one page. I think we're good.
Okay, we need to keep kind of burning through these. So.
Okay, so Trailblazer and Trailmaster, I mentioned that before, now have the Pathfinding. In fact, that needs to be called Pathfinding. Yeah, this is also a good dry run for us on these notes before you guys actually see them. Oh my god. Okay. Login invulnerability power is not cost on the player when they resurrect. Okay, I'm sorry. That login invulnerability timer that we just put in 5.5, you now get that when you change a vessel, when you resurrect, or when you tow truck. So you have a brief period of invuln where you can't get smashed in the head.
Coolster asked a question about our numbering convention. So it was Alpha 6.0. So I'm sure that the assumption is at 5.9, the next thing that happens is 6.0, but that's actually not. It might be 5.10 or 5.12 or 5.50 or whatever. We'll continue going. At Alpha, will we call it 6.0? I would think so, but I actually haven't talked to Gordon and Bill about that. And that numbering scheme is something that, so... Why is Blair so... Oh, that's Dave Greco. That's not a...
He always puts an E on the end of my name, too. I've told him like 10 times.
He thinks you're French.
It looks fancier that way.
Yeah.
All right.
Fancy.
Duelist. Fixed Vanish Sparkles hanging around too long. Knight created a 4th proc to Knight block, which reacts to all hits, which trigger a self-DM linking the game effect to play a blocked sound effect. Okay. So that's just mechanical, so when you block, you'll actually see blocked fly up. Eating a golden apple should now fully restore your hunger meter. Adjusted weapon scale and normalization of the scale of the daggers. Updated Duber shading to match the environmental shader. Added a new collection effects. Yeah, the Dubers are starting to look much nicer. Added intermediate armor to the weapon systems vendors. Fixed a bug that would keep the VIP status indicator if the VIPs are logged out and logged back in. Added a Chaos Ember Duber polished to dust and wood dubers.
This is all just a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, these are fun stuff sometimes, though.
Really?
Well, we have 12 minutes, so I'm still.
But I'm sure they have questions.
Oh, well, you know what? So normally we don't answer anything.
Oh, we don't?
Normally we go 30 minutes of just nonstop reading and then go blast us with the questions.
That sounds fascinating.
It was
30 minutes of Blair reading a document. That's engaging television there.
Thanks, Todd.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Hey, you know what's actually kind of funny is if he scoots towards the camera and I scoot back, it looks like a hobbit and a giant.
Use your right hand. Blair. Just your right hand.
Yeah, just the other hand.
Look at how small his head is.
I know, it's crazy. Don't grab me.
I'm squishing his head.
Horrible troll. All right.
Okay.
It's a Todd's life crisis. So it's just that is exactly true, actually. It's just like, oh my God, there's so much crap. It's just swimming and
you know what?
MMOs are like this.
This is like half of the notes.
I know. I try to explain to people all the time that people always get fixated on like the couple of big problems on MMOs.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
Well, how are we going to handle this? And they don't realize that that's not what actually is
I'm
hard
concerned
on the project.
about this.
Right. I'm concerned about this one thing. Really? Because I'm concerned about the 200,000 other little odds and ends that nobody gives you any credit for. Like nobody is like, you know what? I'll give this MMO credit on this thing. They really nailed that secure trading interface. I mean, wow. The rest of the game kind of crappy, but they really did a fantastic job on clicking that vendor hub. I mean, it's just there's all these things that take time. Like every little thing. Like you see a leaf blowing down the street. Somebody actually did that. It probably took them a day and a half, and they had to rig it up. It had to go all the way through the pipe, and nobody cares about it unless it's clearly broken. Right? If it's pink, then people notice. But if not, it just adds overall to the general atmosphere. So I do think that's very funny, is people always fixate on the one or two big problems, but it's more like you're moving a mountain a spoonful of pebbles at a time.
I hated that game's secure trade interface. And
Yeah,
that's the reason I hated that game. But
I hated the game.
99 other things, they were, screw all that because of that one thing. You're like,
thing.
what?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
So
when is 5.5 going to hit test?
we are working on it now. It is an excellent question. 5.6. Yeah, 5.6. We're working on it now. It's still got some pretty significant blockers and crits, I think, as of the last time I tried it.
It's coming down.
But it is coming.
It's coming down.
It's coming, I'd say, how soon? I don't think anybody's ever told them something will be coming soon, right? So, there you go.
You have a trade interface, and unfortunately
you do have a trade interface.
You have to use a slash
it's
command.
A slash command. It's kind of like the same as the EK tools that I'm about to dump on you guys. Is we got it in, it is there, but it needs an interface. It needs interface support.
By 5.7, however, with the social interaction, F to target to do a bunch of drop down stuff too.
Yeah. We've got a lot of that stuff.
That will clear up this. You'll be able to. I'll be able to just target Todd if he's a friendly. And just open trade with him.
Next 12-hour live stream, we do need to do one. We will do one before alpha. We are just kind of overdue, so I guess we probably should start talking about that.
Yeah, our pace has accelerated on the things that we're actually working on now. So it's trying to cram as much in there for you guys as we can.
Coolster, he's actually asked us twice, could we get a Builder World FFA campaign? No, that's a giant amount of work. It's not like there's just a knob to turn on a Dregs free building campaign, and we've been not doing it because, we just don't want you to have it. There's a huge amount of work there. We just haven't gotten to it yet because until we have a campaign manager tool, which requires a campaign management system, I didn't want to work on the next campaign rule set. So we need to get all of that in place. Otherwise, we're going to be putting in a bunch of custom code that we'll then just have to rip out when the generalized system comes online. So it's just an order of operations things. We haven't gotten to it yet. So, but generally speaking, if there's something that seems like it should be super easy, and why don't they just give it to us? Usually it's because the base assumption is incorrect and it's not super easy.
Or it's extra work that we have something coming.
That we have something coming, and we know that if we do it right now, we're propping up some scaffolding that we're going to have to rip out, and that's going to hurt the overall velocity of the project. So
I mean, it's just we have to pick our battles.
Yep.
We only have so much time.
Yep. So, all right, Frostweaver design. When's Frostweaver design coming?
The Frostweaver design is finished. We are just going through the steps on the design and engineering side to see if they can give us what we want.
Yep. So.
Champion for 5-6. Hallish was doing some champion stuff today. I can't remember exactly what he was doing, but I saw him working in the champion powers. So we'll see. Something's clearly changing in 5-6 because I'm working on it today.
Cool.
Is Stoneborn in 5-6? Stoneborn is not in 5-6. You're getting three races in 5-6.
Yeah.
You get the Fae and the 2
Yeah, but why you got to hate on Stormborn?
I know.
Blair? Why do you got to hate Stoneborn so much?
I know. I hate the Stone. No,
You would, if it wasn't for Max, you'd be the worst.
no way. No way.
I know,
Closest
you're
words
right.
than
No,
that.
you're right. That's a good point. So
We have plenty.
We've got Jack and Max and Bentley all kind of vying
poor
for
Tommy. He's not even here.
vying for bottom of the list.
Yeah.
So you'd have to work your way down past them.
And
that would
Gibson,
be
are you
really
kidding
hard.
me?
That's true. It's a good
I mean,
point.
he's just a good.
You're not even the worst in this room.
I know. Not by a long shot. Yeah. See, Gibson just woke. He just woke up.
So a question was about beheading with a basic axe. Why do we make it spirit?
Because I want to drive the economy for the rune crafters.
Okay.
So they're constantly selling their goods. Everyone needs to go buy one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just one of the things.
Yeah.
It's like, why can't you do everything right in the newbie beachhead?
Right.
Oh, because we're an RPG era.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I could see an argument for let them do it, but make it take a lot longer, right? We can control basically the difficulty of it.
Yeah.
And we could make it. I mean, we could make it where you have to sit there hacking at that neck for a while.
Well, you're actually in
right?
that wind-up phase.
I know it's the wind-up phase.
It's like
so we could potentially do that. Anyway, it's a thing to talk about. So.
Problem is early on nobody can gank, but I mean it's an early on problem. It's so funny because when Honores was visiting us, and everyone is so focused on campaign 1 and the fastest way to do anything in the early experience, and we want the game to last for a lot longer than the early. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're thinking long term, and campaign 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We are taking care to make it nicer in campaign 1. But we're not super focused in on campaign 1.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a stepping stone for us.
Yeah, it is. So everything's a stepping stone, right? That's the iterative approach. One question. I think we're almost. Are we out of time?
You got like 4 minutes.
We got 4 minutes.
We got
One
4 minutes.
question that just came in was about where was it? I lost it now. Crafting. So we do have a significant update coming to crafting as well.
Yep.
And that will be certainly the. Let me back up for a second. So all the EK changes that we talked about, I'm going to write those up. I'm holding off on it because I don't like Jack to get the stuff too soon. No, I need to do that write up, and so we'll be putting that write up. Is that this Thursday? I think it's actually.
Oh
this
wow,
Thursday.
you have to write that today.
So I'm gonna have to
tomorrow.
write
That's
that.
why I asked you today how fast you could get it to me, and you were like, I don't know. I'm like, all right, well.
Yeah. So okay, so I'll try and get it on that today. But we'll have a write up on that one, and then we'll do a write up on the crafting projects as well. So it's just
Crafting projects is a little further out.
It is.
They just started work on that, so.
And that basically crafting projects is don't make me build if I want to build an axe, don't make me go, okay, well I need a hilt. Well, where the hell is that? And I have to dig through all the recipes, and I find I'm like, okay, there's a hilt. What the hell did I need? And I have to go back.
Yeah.
Instead, it's basically a full tree that shows here's the final object that I want, and here's all the way down to resources, and I can plug them in and I can build that thing. So it's basically walking me through all
Right.
the steps necessary to get that in. I can still do the components. That's a different recipe. It's just a smaller part of the tree. But it's basically a management tool for crafters to be able to,
Right.
to have multiple projects going at one time, and you're adding things to them. And if I want to skip this whole part of the tree, I can directly drop a hilt in that I got from somebody else. I think it's going to be a really nice upgrade to the system. So.
And, I mean, the experimentation and all of that stuff is still in there. We're just making it much nicer to visualize what you need to make something like a sword or
Yep.
an axe.
When are we going to drop these patch notes?
Usually we do that when we go to test.
When it goes to test. So soon.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
We always do that. Factories are further out. They are in the next phase of crafting after projects.
Yeah, so factories will be one of the later things to come online because it really is an advanced kind of in-game system, and it in order to work, it depends on a lot of other things being settled, and so it's going to be one of the ones that's going to come a little later. Well, not a little later. It's going to come towards the end of the list of all the big things.
Yep. Can we get an update on win conditions? They are on the schedule. They're not in 5.6. I know that for certain. Did we push it to 5.7? Anyways.
So, yep.
Yeah, it is coming.
So I hear you on the updated win conditions. I realize that it's all coming. That is That is coming as well. So, but I want to say and point out that in January we picked up another 10 or 12 people, like full time. So what you're seeing now is we're starting to see the benefit of that kind of infusion of additional people, because there's some natural, time to get up to speed on the code and stuff like that. But our overall cadence of updates is gotten faster, and the amount of stuff in each update has gotten faster. And our kind of goal was, can we get ourselves on a 1-month cadence where we're putting out a new version with significant things in it every month? So that's kind of where we're headed. So.
We need more art dudes.
Yeah, we always do.
Need more Vespine gas.
So
yeah, the nice thing is they're kind of coming at different schedules when they're finishing their features.
Yep. So cool. I think that's probably it for this time.
Okay, so we are here in our developer map, and here we are with our Ganesha, and we are going to.
Look at that!
Look at that! He now double jumps.
Boink, boink.
Boink boink, and it looks like Greg added a little swoosh to his feet.
That action barrel roll.
Yep,
Not
action
really barrel roll.
Action roll. Action roll.
Somersault.
Oh yes. We'll talk about the gold over there in a little bit. Okay. So
That was a long time coming.
that it's so funny. Everyone's been asking for so long. Where's the double jump?
Where's the double jump?
Where's the double jump? Where's the double jump?
When?
Oh wait, someone said Aislinn added that one? Okay. Okay, Aislinn was in here and added that. And now we have fulfilled our promise of reduced food usage and a double jump. Yay, one more thing finished. Okay, so let's hop over to the Fae. Oh, you know what I didn't mention when I was out there? Everyone may not have seen it yet, but the Season of Plenty is now...
yes, that's true.
We are now in the Season of Plenty.
So what does that mean?
So Season of Plenty is going to give us a bunch of... apples. I think it's like... Yes, 35% apples.
Look at them apples.
You are going to get apples. How about them apples?
How about them apples?
How about them apples? And...
Oh, plethoras of stuff.
a plethora of dust. All is 10% across the board. And plentiful harvest. Everything +2. So, the Season of Plenty.
So that means I'll be getting bountiful explosions of dubers and goodness off of...
You should be getting much higher quality stuff.
Just right off the bat?
Right off the bat. And then as the season rolls into the next one, the Season of... Todd came up with the names for these.
The Season of After Summer?
There's the Season of Reaping. And then there's the Season of something. It's in fact still called Season of Something, because he still hasn't given me the name for the 4th season yet.
That new mouse pad smell.
Oh, can we see it? The new Crowfall mouse pads. Apparently Max is walking around handing them to everyone in the office.
I like
And
how
you
I
too.
sit next to
You can
him.
have
Still
those.
have
Just to me.
Yeah, you're the only one.
Just a
that got
Gibson.
that.
Oh,
Hey, I got one of those too.
Hey, look at that guy. Looks like we haven't disabled him yet, but
But he's there.
he is there,
The male and the female version.
and she is there. Hey, she's got hair today,
That's
so
good. That's she looks good with hair.
he's pretty tall. Look at that.
Comparative to him, yeah.
Right for you guys?
It's a little bright.
Well, because usually it's too dark. So I think I have
Okay, so we're gonna make her an assassin.
Ass in.
An assassin.
Sasserino.
Testo. Is she gonna have hair? And she's got hair.
Still with the hair. All right.
Look at
She
that.
had hair
She's
before.
got hair. No, sometimes she doesn't. Based on when you sync, you may or may not get hair if somebody broke something.
I had the problem with putting a helmet.
Okay, so similar to double jump,
Oh, can't wait.
the Fae has her own double jump, as you saw right there.
No, I
And
Nice purpley swooshes.
you like the little swooshes? I don't know if that was Greg or Aislinn. I'm sure he will tell us who did that. Was it Greg or Aislinn?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Community effort.
Okay. Well, so if you hit the space bar on the 3rd, what would be a triple jump, that actually engages glide. So 1, 2, 3.
Oh
and-
my goodness.
And I'm gliding. You'll notice that you have a buff up there that says gliding.
Mm.
And I will go over here We also made effort to make it such that the you can
so cool.
you can zip like a madman, and you can in fact while gliding, you can also do your right click
That is
dash.
So good. So good.
So catching them is going to be maybe a bit of a challenge. And I'm running over here to go to... This is our giant tower. Because if you are falling, you can just hit the space bar and you will instantly go into glide. So basically, if you jump off of a high spot, you have to go through the 3 space bars, or if you just fall and go into space bar. So I'm just going to fall here. I'm falling. And I just hit space bar, I'm gliding. I can shut it off. I can turn it back on. I can shut it off. I can turn it back on. So if you want to do some controlled like base jumping and just fall all the way to the bottom and just hit it right before you would die, that's something you can do.
That is amazing.
She was a gymnast.
And you can just come to little hills like this. Someone's chasing you. And just boop. boop,
Joyfully glide
boop,
off.
and just glide and laugh and then dash forward and dash forward.
And laugh some more.
And you can cover a whole lot of distance with her pretty quickly.
You go poo poo poo.
You can go boo boo boo, yeah.
Yes.
That fast? Can you show us?
Wait, what do you want us to do, Gibson?
Gibson wants to see boo boo boo.
Gibson's so
Jump, jump,
excited.
fly. Jump, jump, fly.
Jump, jump, fly. That's what I just do all the time. Jump, jump,
No,
glide.
That's not jump, jump, fly. That's jump, jump, fly.
He wants it faster.
It's pretty quick. Like any quicker, you wouldn't be able to
Register.
deal with the internet.
It
And
would
what-
break the internet.
For those of you who haven't played something like this, it is detected on the button up, because Gibson was holding his spacebar down this morning and having all kinds of problems because he was just like, "I hold space, it's not working. I hold it, why not working?" Yeah.
That
So
wasn't the problem.
space,
Problem was-
space, space. So yeah, I jumped off that time, so I have to go through the whole cycle. Versus
So
the
you're saying
oh,
it's
look at the distance there. Look at how pretty all the resources look now.
It is very pretty.
Isn't that super
What
pretty?
what a transition. So what you're saying then, Mr. Blair, is
Yes.
that the glide is actually a toggle, it's not a hold.
Correct. It is a toggle.
Yes, you can tuck the wings back and go.
Dive bomb.
Yeah.
That would be version 2.
Show stealth glide. Yes, we are still, and by we, probably because Mark and I really haven't talked about it yet, debating whether it's a good idea or not to have a legion of birdmen flying in stealth.
Invisible stealth birdmen, which is pretty amazing.
Only if they say dive.
And play
Birdmen,
Flight of the Valkyries. We gotta have Flight of the Valkyries play as you
Okay, so I'm
as you
stealth.
glide.
I'm stealth. Jump, jump.
Oh,
So, just like our regular out of combat, I can look around the character. If I was in combat mode and doing this, I would be locked to the reticle, just like combat
Okay.
mode. So there isn't anything special.
If it's you and somebody else running and she jumps to fly, can they jump on top of her and ride her down?
That is an excellent question, Gibson. However, we do take steps to prevent you from staying on top of capsules.
yes, so you'd probably slide right off her capsule. In fact, we can see what her
Would be
capsule's
difficult.
doing while she's gliding.
Let's do that.
Who wants to see that?
I do.
Okay. Okay, so there's my capsule.
Oh man, I could ride that capsule.
You could ride that capsule all the way home, son.
And yeah, it's
You could totally ride on her.
yeah, if it wasn't, you would be slide right off. It's not flat, Gibson. See how it's not like a rectangle or anything?
I can stand on a capsule.
No, we
Could
could
you?
add a platform that you could stand on.
I can
Yes.
stand on the side of
And
a
then you
mountain,
could-
but I can't stand on a capsule. Come on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So for all of the combat discussions we always have about where is your capsule, players can't see this, but you can see that there is the effect of having a client server game.
Right.
This little swirly behind me. I don't even know what texture that is.
It's I think it's a fireball just being
It's a stretched fireball.
awkwardly stretched over a capsule.
That is actually where I am on the server.
Yeah.
And you'll notice how it's always just a little bit behind.
And we can do this, by the way, because the server is his same computer, so he has
Correct.
effectively no.
Yeah, if you look, my MSG right here is at 30.
Right. It's like that's round trip time just from Unity back to your keyboard, basically.
Right.
But
So, but a lot of times we'll have discussions. We'll be like, well, why don't they just hit? Or why do you have to have a little bit wider sphere cast? And it's because you'll see the character moving and you see that's where I am on the server.
Yeah.
And if I were to actually aim at what I see, I would miss that character. Now, on your client, they're actually seeing the representation of where I am, which is actually a little bit further behind there. So that's just a little bit of,
the joy we have to deal with.
yes.
MMO.
Welcome to online games. That's because that's how they work. Okay. So, any questions so far? I love the smell of the poison daggers. Way too OP. Yes. We'll see what happens. Yep. Zyback's right. You'd slide right off the castle. Are you able to show raycast hit scan graphics the same as you can capsules? Yes, we can. It's just it's a button that's hidden somewhere. It's not as easy as us pressing a button. That one's actually buried deeper in Unity. You might just flail to the ground enter stun. Yeah, if you
And then take falling damage.
and then take falling damage. Yeah, if you don't. Actually, I can just glide
And then just turn off the.
and just fall. Oh, I
You
actually
weren't really that high.
I wasn't that high.
You'd probably have to get. Probably about halfway.
So you
Up
can't
that
Right there.
Yeah. Okay.
You can't get stunned while in midair.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have any special, CC immunity while gliding, so you can be.
But will you go out of glide?
You should, yeah.
Yeah,
Glide
I
is
mean,
an
if you
ability,
just-
so it should deactivate it.
Well-
Oh yeah, see that? You actually went into the flailing animation.
Yeah,
as soon as you realized.
That's why she needs a dive bomb.
It's a dive bomb. Well,
Just
I mean,
full commitment.
if you combine that with the assassin
Now, get stealth, you're good to go.
disengage
Yeah.
and engage,
Which
you-
may not be. Well, you could try it. You probably do the first one. The combo wouldn't work. Though.
I think I specifically put something in to shut off glide if you do a disengage, but then you can go back into it if you really want to. Ooh, she looks good in armor.
Oh, the poisoning yourself with the.
Poison yourself when you land with
Yes.
yes, okay, good. Yeah, she looks really good.
That armor's awesome.
Is that leather?
Yeah, it's leather. She is an assassin.
I like the emo eyes.
Are the eyes supposed to be like that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I like them.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
It's like she's just all. She's all.
Yeah, I mean the black eyes, not the. I also like the. It's just she looks so lethal and deadly, and then she's got two little hearts on.
Where at? Wait, I didn't.
You didn't see the hearts?
No, I guess not.
The antword
I'm trying to find a good angle here.
chick.
Look on the hilt of the
Oh,
daggers.
okay. All right. Cool.
Everyone loves the heart daggers. Okay, so disengage. No, I can't. I wonder if I'm already in the air and I disengage. I'm gonna go check that out.
Yeah, there's currently a bug that's preventing combos working with root motion. So
Is the champion suffering from that?
yes, and
Yes.
assassin of course because
Okay. So apparently we're still fixing things.
we are in develop anyway, right? This is
Oh.
the latest,
I
latest
can't-
and greatest and most brokest.
So I tried it, and I was,
Oh, okay.
Oh, see, I was able to
you-
get
you
into
got-
it.
Okay, that's cool.
but I couldn't engage it in the air. That one is not flagged to use while not grounded. So
well, I mean, if we want to, we should do that
yes.
so that it is awesome. 'Cause I prefer awesome.
Do you?
I do.
So let's go talk about the harvesting stuff because
Sure,
there's some changes over there as well.
Some sparkly goodness.
We'll just glide over there though. We'll just find a high spot and just glide. I think Greg and Aislinn are gonna put some contrails on here just to give her a little bit of
some motion,
some motion.
some post effects maybe.
That's kind of dive bomb.
That's dive bombing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you use your right click dodge to You'll notice that she drops down a little bit.
If you do that high up and then you go back into just regular glide.
Yep, if you hit spacebar because you're falling. Yeah.
Love it. Well done.
Yeah, the making her her right click work with glide was kind of important because it just adds so much more. It's just fun to glide off little things like that too. It's like, all right, cool. Okay, so you'll notice that a lot of the trees now have some sparklies around them, and we're trying to solve some of the problems with people seeing named resources in a sea of knotwood and all of these baseline world materials, which is basically the base population of the resources in our world. And then we've got a bunch of these named ones, and it's just hard to tell. So Greg has been working to add some sparklies to the name stuff that just, so you can see in the distance. Now, of course, we've got like several hundred nodes here, which is our testing area, which is not what it's going to look like. Can I see the one in the distance over there? Yeah. Like on those trees, you can barely see it way in the distance.
A few sparse examples.
But yeah, you'll be able to see. What we've also done is made knotwood harvesting that much faster. So I have no tool, so let's just get the 3 pieces of wood. I'm sorry?
What are the sparkles?
Sparkles mean named.
That's what he was just talking about.
Yeah, I know.
Pay attention, Gibson.
Gibson.
We're like,
Otherwise, I have to take
Give me
the
that
little time machine back here.
you will be tested later.
Rather just ask again.
Gibson, what do the sparkles mean?
I don't know. I couldn't hear what he said.
Okay.
He couldn't hear.
Well, he said it, and I wasn't paying attention to him. I was
Give
paying
me some
attention to you.
wood. Oh, there's some new
So what is it?
there's some new pickup effects going on here as well with the
You were just tearing through that tree too.
and yeah, I'm tearing through this tree with no axe. Oh, give me that apple.
Instead of not moving cobblestone on the side.
So let's go ahead and
It's a higher
just
rank.
go ahead and make us that axe.
Y'all are dang. Y'all are dang.
And what you will notice,
As we've seen, you have no skill.
so
You
yeah,
are-
I have no
you are
skill. This is
skillless.
This is a brand new character. So knotwood trees
Just riggedy wreck that
will
tree.
just riggedy wreck it in 3-ish, 2-ish, 3-ish hits. So it'll be very quick to go around the world and just demolish the basic knotwood, the basic cobblestone, and the basic slag.
It doesn't even take that much stamina.
However, if you see a sparkly tree, which means it's a named resource, so this one is you and it's rank 4, and I've got.
Me?
You'll notice that I'm back to doing what used to be the normal. So the weak point game will have more effect on the name stuff, as well as, and you'll notice I just ran out of stamina.
Right.
So that is going to happen as well. And because it's the season of plenty, you'll notice I got 2 dust.
Yeah, and you're not again unskilled.
Right. You were playing your skill dude yesterday and just making.
I was. My skill dude was just that was without the summer the season of plenty too.
Oh really?
Yeah, that's why you're like, oh wait, this is because we're doing 551 test, right? Test.
So what that means is running around the world, it'll be very fast to get just the baseline resource stuff. So if you just need to make basic weapons or intermediate armor, you'll have that available to you. When you need the name stuff for more advanced things, then that will take longer, and you can specialize in that stuff.
Bigger risk, bigger reward.
Someone says they're not sure they like the sparkles. You will love the sparkles.
Yeah, well, and like keep in mind what Blair said too. You will probably never see something like this in live, which is a giant grid of resources tightly packed together.
Yes.
Because we don't build the world that way.
Right. This is just for us to test.
Yeah. This is our big one of each land.
This area over here is more representative of finding a resource node in the wild.
Got a few trees and a few ore nodes and mineral deposits. Hey.
Ray. Yeah, so you see, like over there, you guys have certainly seen a stone diorama, and you can just see there's just enough to catch the eye, especially on the trees, because the trees are. Now, of course, I've got a white background here, so
Right, that's not.
that's not going to help.
Is it better the other way? Looking towards the.
Yeah, I'm going to try and.
Yeah, basically, we'd have the better skybox in a not flat world.
Yeah, so you can see with the green background there that every now and then it's just enough. Feels like little wisps, kind of just doing their wispy thing.
Yeah, and if you think it's too heavy or whatever, let us know, right? I mean,
Yeah.
obviously this is like everything. You guys will give us feedback, and we will react. But it definitely helps it stand out for sure.
And I'm getting 75 frames up here now. They have been doing a bunch of work on optimization. So look at that. That's always a positive thing when you see 75. I don't know that I've ever seen 75 before. What do we got? Fake land on the physics spot on top of a tree. Probably.
Yeah.
And it's a collider. It's
Yeah, so that's more of an interaction between your capsule and the particular way the
right. So that's when you guys what Tinnis called physics spots. They're actually called colliders, and this is that is the representation
right.
of
the
a
tree
collider.
looks like to the server, and
Right.
really to your client too, right? That's really what's actually there.
Which is why you can run through like the edges in most cases. Now you can see that my capsule extends further further around me. Like we have a universal capsule. We've had these discussions before.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen it actually in game though. But this is useful for us to walk around and see why we can walk through something like, oh, there's no collision set up on that particular thing. So then the art team would go through and they'd set up the geometry on it. Is there a sprint animation for the Fae? Yes.
Should be.
Yes,
Oh, look at that!
she's got a little bit of a hover. I'm sure they'll give her some contrails. It's very flying.
Yeah.
Yes, she's floating.
That's so cool.
Yay! What else? What other questions? Are all capsules the same size? Yes, all capsules are the same size. Which is why, in a lot of cases, for example, the spiders.
Right.
Right? The spiders use that exact same capsule size, which is why sometimes when you think that you're hitting the end of the spider, its butt, his capsule is actually, it used to be way centered in the front. I think you put it more in the middle,
Yeah.
based on some of these problems. But at one point, we do want to have a capsule unique. Ooh, that must have been her fidget.
Yeah.
Give Doggett Cook a raise for that sprint. I wanted to see the fidget again. But let's show the sprint again for people who didn't see. Need some contrails.
That needs Flight of the Valkyries music too.
Yeah, so this is where we do a lot of our testing, is to see. Clearly, before they had double jump, nobody could make these.
Trivializing this challenge,
I know,
Blair,
it's just so
with your
easy now.
OP Fae.
Nobody makes their first jump. You can glide.
Oh! See if you enforce that glide. Oh! Blair.
Oh, Blair.
But look at how fast I
am
got back up
disappointed.
there.
Oh!
I still have inertia.
Oh.
I still have inertia when and I took damage that time. When you shut off the glide. Look at that, 76 frames. What the hell? Yeah, you see,
good,
just barely
good sticking that landing.
stick it.
Stick it.
By that time I
Ah!
cheated with the right click. So there you go. That's that's the Fae. And here, can you double jump over a fort wall?
If you started from higher than the fort wall, probably,
Correct.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, we're still only giving them, I think it's 4 meters in height. I'm sure if you wedge yourself in a corner.
Yeah, if you exploit your way up a tree and then
Yeah.
jump from the top of that. Actually, I don't even know if we spawn trees close enough to a fort wall to allow that to be
Yeah,
possible.
but I mean, if you found a giant mountain and you
Yeah.
just glided down,
I mean, anything's possible, right? I mean, we're gonna have procedural worlds, so
yeah, we'll see. We'll see where that ends up. And at that point,
Right. Well, I mean, you
You're
already
one
have-
dude inside a castle
Yeah.
with
I
the
mean,
rest of your team on the other side of an unbroken wall.
It's not unheard of.
Or you're stealthed in there, sneaking in there, and avoided the guards so that you could try and gank people.
Which is also fun.
Yes. So this is going to add a whole new wrinkle, and we're kind of, yep,
Super excited.
we're super excited for what things you guys do with this great power. Okay, so this is still in progress. Billy added the videos in yesterday, but for today, they have the ranger faces up there. These will be videos that you can.
Those are actually, there'll be loops.
They'll be what?
I think there'll be loops.
It'll be more like
10-second loops that'll show what each one does. Sweet.
He added a fourth one yesterday. So you can go ahead and select basically where you want to start. The tooltip is still off screen.
Yeah.
We really need to get that tooltip.
Don't look at me. I don't.
Jack!
Why don't you fix it?
Jack!
Yeah, let me into the code. Let's see what happens.
So, as we... I don't know, maybe we haven't said it yet. It's an upcoming update. The behavior we were noticing when we implemented the time bank was people, because of bugs, would just train in time specific skill node. You just start the tree training, and when you come in here, you will just have skill node. You just start the tree training, and when you come in here, you will just have clickety click points to spend. That whole process was streamlined, and I don't have enough points. I should have been getting the points sooner. But you'll be able to just click, and it will whoop, 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 spend. So basically, you will probably start every play session with spending points on things, because you will have just a bunch of things.
And I presume it will be faster than the current process of...
That's what I just said. It is much faster. So... And then we're still working on doing some things over here to make it more like these trees. So this is kind of what the new setup looks like. And hopefully one of the bigger problems that a lot of people didn't understand in the old system was that the time bank was only for that tree. That was one of the big confusion points. And hopefully in this new model, it's very apparent that you have been training in the combat basics tree. The XP that you have is only in that tree, and if I were to come over here and look at this tree, I basically see that I have 0 skill points available to spend in this tree. So that's some of the newness that's also coming with 5.6.
5.6? Is it 5.6?
Yes.
Okay.
So, yes. Hopefully this will be the last. This one will sink in, and everyone will be happy with it.
Just got points.
So, yep, and we're still tweaking. We're going to continue to make some tweaks as we finish this up, heading into 5.6. I just wanted to show you guys kind of
Looking good.
it's starting to look much more better.
That'd be
So I'm in the pathfinding phase right now because I just came out of combat, which means you really can't cycle in and out into Trailmaster movement speeds. That was just a lot of you guys brought this up on the Dev Partners Forum, and we were like, "Yep, that does sound like it's being abused." So when you toggle it off via going into combat, when you come out, you'll notice you get pathfinding. When pathfinding ticks down to 0, it turns over into Trailblazer or Trailmaster. So this should stop some of the toggling in and out. It also before you didn't know that they had a regular run because we were automatically throwing them into sprint.
That's true.
So now it's like, oh, okay.
And they're really super sprinting there.
Yes.
With that animation, it's awesome.
What's up?
Why does he have wings? I wasn't paying attention.
This
The high elf.
This is the high elf.
This is a wood elf.
Oh,
Or what else?
This is a wood elf. Yeah, this is a wood elf.
Yeah.
See,
I love the.
See the words in the upper right,
I
Gibson?
love the rollaport. It's really.
I can't read that.
I can't read the words wood elf. Oh, wood elf. And then there is a way.
Does he have any armor models yet?
Oh, I didn't actually need to go over there. But in the exploration tree, there now is defense slow, and pathfinding increases your pathfinding, which reduces the amount of time it takes to start trailblazing. So you can reduce some of that 10-second time.
So does that reset if you take damage?
Does what reset if you take damage?
The pathfinding.
No, but you would get dizzy.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get knocked down, then clearly it would automatically put you in combat when you get back up from being dizzy. So I think it just kind of does it. Why is the effect not playing on that thing? We need to talk to Greg.
Maybe it may not have effect sockets set up yet. If it's
No, I've seen him. I've seen him. It's
okay.
it's a cool little discipline.
then I don't know. I'm out of ideas.
You put some armor on it.
The armor does not. We don't have armor for these guys yet. We're missing it for the high elf and the wood elf, but we decided to let people play them.
The female high elf has it.
Yes, she does. The intricacies of the art schedule are
Beyond Gibson.
are beyond. What's that?
Yes.
Yes.
Where would she wear it?
You can't wear the same thing.
Sure you can.
Um,
Might tuck it back in.
high elfo.
Very blue.
He is very blue.
He has hair too.
He has hair, however.
He has got some hair. Look at that hair.
He's very noble looking.
Oh, beautiful. I wish my hair was that pretty.
Do you?
I do.
You just keep growing it.
No, I will never be that pretty.
Well, they still have plans for the
You just
hair.
need
They
to
want
brush it enough, Jack.
Brush 100 brushes per day.
That is nowhere near.
Come
You
on.
need like 1,000 brushes a day, all day long. I know they still want to put a bone in there, a dynamic bone in the hair to make it.
Oh no, yeah. So it'll.
So So
Yeah.
He's gonna do that.
So it's still need a little loving on the hair yet, but
and these guys have cartwheel. Yes.
oh, that's cool.
See, his effects were working.
Yeah,
the
do
side,
that
the
from the
side
side.
was looking-
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Some,
Why can't you do an actual side?
that is so cool. Oh, fear wobble.
What do you do?
Dritz clones, here we come. Oh, I guess since he is an assassin. Oh, actually, no rain. No, he can't be a ranger, can he?
No ranger. We're missing the boat on this one, Blair.
Yeah.
How else are we going to have? See, that's unfortunate.
And we don't have scimitars yet.
Yeah,
Real.
scimitars.
Real
No, for real
scimitars.
scimitars.
No, we
Trying to
never
trigger
had
some
scimitars.
people.
Little question marks.
Hello?
Little question marks that we said.
There we go.
Frostweaver, do it!
Coming soon. You can't even click it.
I know.
No, it's just I was gonna say without the ranger, then you can't
Yeah.
make your Dritz. And then
Which may have anywhere between 1 and 5 Z's, T's, I's, or R's, depending on the MMO you're playing.
yeah. So I know she's coming on
I saw her.
soon. I don't think they've enabled her yet. But this guy. Yes. He is one of our Kickstarter ad characters. Because there originally wasn't supposed to be these guys.
And that's what Todd Drift's does.
Yeah. Wow,
The
he is
male-
tall.
The male Fae.
He's tall, Jack.
He's got
He's
a,
very tall.
he's got a nice fade going on.
And the glide just works with him. Are his wings a little rattier?
Yeah.
They might be,
yeah, they're supposed to.
Hey, I mean, he survived an attempted assassination at his birth, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
he
And
kind of
then,
he's been through some stuff.
The male Fae are typically like slaves and outcasts of society, anyways. So
Like-
they pretty much get beat up their entire lives.
He's happy to
Don't
be
you read the
alive.
lore, Blair?
What's
God,
that?
Blair, don't you read the lore?
I did. Hey, look at that. His dodge works too. Excellent. Okay, so
Can you show the wood elf male's face?
wood elf male's face. Yeah.
Yeah, you were
Get a chance
facing
to see it.
Shadow Word.
And drink the poison. High elf or wood elf? Wood elf.
Yeah, wood elf.
He's very shiny. Oh, his ears. Look at the ear bounce.
Doink, 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 doink. Yep.
I love the hair.
There we go. Very noble. Very noble face.
Male Wood has a roll, not a blink. No, it's a blink roll. He's basically.
Let me get shown.
Yeah.
Jump roll blink is pretty cool. The it would look more cool with the effects working, but
Yeah,
it's
there's.
not working for some reason.
It's a blink, just like everybody else, or just like the female,
Yeah,
just like the female.
all the other sexes.
But the animators have clearly made an effort to make everybody feel just a little bit different. So it's a little more work on them, but everybody doesn't feel the same, which is good.
Will Faye flying over a ground effect target be impacted?
If they are in the sphere, yeah, because most of those ground targets are a sphere DM.
Right. If you just imagine this only like that, that should be.
Mm-hmm. Also, if she was under the ground gliding, she would
Yes,
also
that's
be
true.
affected by
She
it.
just happened to be under the ground.
Uh-huh.
Not that that's ever happened before.
So he can't go under smaller spaces.
No.
No. That is
Did
correct.
you make sure the little guy cannot double jump ridges or wall sections when speed buffed? We did not make sure. I'm just assuming he's going to be able to.
I mean, the height of the jumps, I believe, are commensurate, right? I mean, it will feel like he's jumping a long way, but
Yeah, the velocity isn't carried forward into it, if I'm not mistaken.
What's the purpose of double jump?
It's fun.
joy. Also, it does give you a little more distance, right? I mean, it's a little
Yeah.
more.
Oh,
Oh.
that was a little weird.
Bum, bum, bum,
It felt like I had a little acceleration coming out of that one.
Min-max it, Blair. I believe
Gotcha.
you.
Gotta do it. Gotta do it
Sprint.
for real. See where.
Whoa!
Oh,
That
I
actually-
like what you did there.
You see what I did?
Yeah.
There you go. Well, you made it.
Yes.
So you can make it.
That's
Way
some
to-
pretty good
way to
distance right there.
Way to exploit that, Blair.
Yes.
Way to stream that schnizzle.
So now what we have to do is we have to have games and see who can glide the
Well,
furthest.
we need rings, right? The
No,
rings,
one
so you
more.
can.
If you
Yeah,
would
we've done that one
far
before.
faster, right?
Mhm. So
You're saying movement challenge is what you're saying.
there you go. Okay. Any final questions? As a boring human player, how the heck am I supposed to get excited about my race now? Well, you get an extra passive and an extra power slot for free.
Which is pretty exciting.
That is pretty good.
It's hard to argue with.
It's
Called choices.
yes, it's one of the things that we really wanted to do was to make all of our races feel different and have a huge amount of choice.
Right. And like
Right.
powerful differences, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
We didn't want to normalize everything, so it was just another flavor of 10 more attack power, right? And it's just this one double jumps.
but if you want 10 more
That one
attack
can't.
power, maybe go with a human.
Yeah. Oh, and humans get capes too. So no terrain negotiation, no Tark. We don't have terrain negotiation yet. We'll see. I mean, we're just the scouting stuff is. I still always wanted to make the galaxies the Griefer hairdresser. Remember that?
Yeah, the hairdresser that comes by and just changes your hair. Without,
Because in the early days there was no confirmation
Yeah,
required.
you just went
That
up
way you
and-
could run faster past somebody and grief hairdress them and run.
Yeah, well, you could macro it, right? You could you could do a drive-by image design and change somebody's hairstyle and color and eyes. It's pretty great.
Who can make capes? Right now, no one can, but it will be a recipe we add at some point. And we are over time.
Yep.
So,
All right.
thank you everyone for coming out. That was some of the nice, fun stuff you're going to get in 5.6, which should be approaching us in the soonish future. And have a great day.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.